The answer to chess is back. Just having a look and see what can be done in this game. Let's just, oops, excuse me, bring the knight out. So every move, we're looking basically at trying to attack the king or the king area, the spaces around the king, the pieces around the king, squares around the king. And that's the key objective. But initially, when you're first starting out, you're not necessarily getting that bit of gold. So then you're attacking weak pieces or weak squares or squares around the weak pieces, etc. So the strategy, simple direct moves to remove pieces from the board strategically, and then looking basically at the little mantra in terms of the key movements that you make in order to establish your position. Checks, captures, threats, support, blocking, and then back to position again. So that should help with any decision making that needs to take place. So we've captured the gambited pawn. Now they've got two center pawns that they'll be looking to cajole down. Can envisage this, but we do have two pieces on there and they currently just have one piece. Push, push. Obviously the bishop's taking the pawn. That's a could develop the knight and attack the bishop, or we can just bring the bishop pawn out to open up the dark square bishop. And let's attack the bishop. Keep it simple. It's obvious moves. It's not really going to impact our position too much. And they're attacking a knight with a lesser piece. So our higher piece can attack, our lesser piece can attack their higher piece. I think we'll go with that. So the knight is attacking the queen. There will be a pawn up, it looks like, because once this takes, after the bishop takes, bishop takes. Okay, so the knight's out. We'll take the queen with a check. So a smaller piece attacking the higher piece. Usually can't be wrong. 15-10. Let's develop the knight. Let's capture the pawn. Simple. And I've been not capturing the knight recently with this opening thing. Let's just go here, attacking the queen, smaller piece attacking a higher piece. Usually can't be wrong. Computer frowns on this maneuver, but I'm not seeing humans really take full advantage of whatever weakness is supposed to be there. Let's just push this pawn, trying to manage this square a little bit so the knight can come out. And let's get the bishop involved, supporting the queen if they did do any of this. And let's castle. We can take the knight. Don't need to deliberate too much because we are actually on the bishop. If the bishop takes, then we grab. So we're a minor piece up now. And that was just a move order thing. So many concepts within chess, within our mantra, you know, move order being one of them, and they've resigned. 15-10, the answer to chess mini series. Let's attack the center as we do. And let's just capture the simplicity of the answer to chess when done appropriately. It really does look beautiful because it is that simple. Complications come when people are looking to get a little bit too arty. I'm going to bring the queen here, putting a check on the king, and it looks like we'll be winning the pawn. Doesn't look like there's anything apart from this pawn here. This is why we'll be winning the pawn with a check, and then maybe the bishop's coming out. So it's not winning the game, but a little bit of an instant win positionally, although it is overworking the queen. Okay, so let's take, and then obviously there's the rook. So if the bishop or the queen come to defend, but you have to be very careful. Oh, they've actually resigned. Simple direct moves to remove pieces from the board strategically. And by strategically, we mean working the pieces together, attacking key spaces, key pieces, key areas around the king, attacking the king directly, smaller pieces attacking higher pieces. Let's capture. So at this moment we've done just that, and we're now attacking the pawn. Going to take the knight off the board to keep it real simple and true to the ethos. Let's just develop the bishop. Let's develop the knight. And queenside castle with a check on the king. And then attack the bishop and the pawn. Obviously the bishop comes back to defend it. Comes back here. See if we can get the rooks owning the file. They'll be key to try and support these types of things. And so if they keep the bishop there, we can, let's have a look at this situation. We can hit this pawn. If the pawn takes, then we've got two pieces on there. So I'm actually going to hit the pawn before we double the rooks. I'm umming and ahhing about whether we're going to attack this side or attack here with the rooks. So I'm going to attack the bishop. And capture. Really want to block the pawn from dropping, but I think they're going to just hit the knight. So that would be a nice position. If the pawn stays there. Oh, let's drop it in here. There's a school of thought going here, but the king can attack it. King can still attack it here, but we can start building up some pieces maybe to double up on the pawn. Knight's moving, so it looks like we can start here. That might be a bit quicker. Trying to own the file here. King obviously seeing that the knight is going to be, so maybe we start dancing. Could even drop here, but then I suppose he can just stop there because we want to go here. Yay, so do we go here? This feels better if we get to here. We're going here. But he just has to drop the pawn. One. Then it stops the knight. Let's try it anyway. If we get this off, I feel like I'm going to be a little bit happier. A bit more play in the middle. The pawn hits, then we get the... They're getting active with their knight, so I'm looking to bait the pawn down. He's attacking the pawn. Yeah, he's attacking the pawn. Let's not get over eager. Let's support first. Knight's still got space to move if it's getting attacked. Only thing is this knight's blocking there, but we can see the knight off. Ah, man. Okay, let's go and get the rook. Then maybe put a check on the king after we've got rid of the knight. So all the simple things of capturing pieces and position on the board, that's the type of thing we're looking at. Just keeping it real simple. Nothing too arty. Positions not too bad. Baiting pawns left, right and centre. got a piece to attack to get rid of it, so we can look to get this pawn. So maybe they're going to push this pawn down to try and negate that, but they'd have to move both of these pawns. One of them's getting hit, but it's nothing major. It's not a checkmate or anything like that. So we're even with material. So I think hey, what's going on? So we can hit the king and get the pawn off. What are they thinking? Let's hit the king, get the pawn off. King is here. Right, okay, before we go running. Anything else? No, just take the pawn. And if we get this, we get the rook, but I suppose his king can defend. Although his knight can come and block, which would be a bit annoying, but still, it's a pin. Let's take, we're +1. It's nothing really, but let's bring the knight here. See if we get away with that. Attacking the pawn, put a check on the king. I mean, he's got a nice position here, so he's going to get one of our pawns. He's not fallen for that. So how can I defend? I can. No, I can't. I need to move the king or one of these pawns, stopping this knight from coming here, which would be this one. It's not going to help much. I think there's going to be a massive attack. We take. Not getting trapped. No. Okay, put a check on. At least we've reduced one pawn, and let's move the knight out of the way. It's going to be tack, tack, tack. Keep it simple. Know what the pieces can do. Know what they can't do. Alright, so he's off with his knight, so probably a check here, or he's attacking this pawn. I think he's going to be attacking this pawn. Looks like I'm going to have to sit and wear that. So if I get my king up, yeah, I'll have to sit and wear that. There's nothing I can do about that. Yep, it's all pretty obvious. And what do we want to do? Attack their pawn. He hits us. Move the knight out of the way. Let's attack their pawn. Just giving them things to think about whilst they're attacking. Oh, let's take. So he's going to have a passer, but can we protect this pawn? No, 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 we can't. No. Let's attack another piece. Attack it again. It's taken. He's on this pawn. Move the king. Supporting. Let's take. So we're thinking this pawn's just going to take this pawn off the board. Let's take. Just got to check on our king here. We can move the king here, or we can move it here, but then he's just going to get it with the king. I'm going to come backwards. And the king's going to come down. Let's go while they're playing with that pawn. King drops just to get the pawn. Hopefully we're fast enough to keep going. Or is his knight going to be fast enough, jumping back and back? Oh, it's not coming for the pawn. Let's push the pawn. As many linked as possible, maybe get them up. And we can push this. Push. might resign now. That's a fairly neat game. Just utilizing what the pieces can do. Position on the board, definitely key. Using the candidate maneuvers, checks, captures, threats, support, blocking, and then back to position again. We'll claim victory on that. The answer to chess. Let's develop the knight. Let's hit the center, see if we can open up these pawns. Simple direct moves to remove pieces from the board strategically. I think we can just capture this pawn in the center and take the bishop. There's positions that you kind of need to feel comfortable with, and doubling the pawns in this situation seems okay to me. It brought the queen out attacking. Knight can defend. Let's just block. So they've brought the queen out to defend, attack a pawn, and can bring the queen up just to see if there's an exchange going. Gives them something to think about. We do have a knight developed already ahead of them. Probably going to refuse because they don't want the knight being here to go here. So they want to develop their knight. Before we do any of that, let's just simple is just taking the queen off the board. Let's just bring it here. It's x-raying through. It's the same position, so they're probably going to attack because they want to develop their knight. So if we can be a bit more annoying, maybe go to the other side of the board with the queen. Bit dancing with the queen really, but you know, sometimes you have to practice not giving the queen up. You might get a better position. Ooh, so the pawn's going in. Let's take now that we're not developing their knight for them. And let's get the bishop out, baiting a pawn. Doesn't have to, obviously. Let's get this out here. So he's going to do it eventually, but he's doing it so that his pawns are linked in the center. Could attack the pawn in the center, baiting this pawn down. I'm just going to go with this, keep it nice and steady away. Potential for castling queenside, but it's all open. It's all open, so we don't need to do any of that. We could just bring the king here. Excellent. Right, so let's attack their g-pawn with the rook. We're not rushing castling at this moment. The bishop's defending. It's also attacking the knight. This means that this pawn has got no protection on. So we could go here, baiting the pawn. It just blocks. And then that kind of stops their bishop from attacking. Could always bring his knight in as well. We're just doing things to be a bit of an annoyance. Yeah, so they've blocked their own bishop in, which is a good sign for us. And then we do attack their bishop. Could have taken the knight, doubles the pawns. Going to take the knight now. Can't actually take because the rook is facing their king, x-raying through. So the pawn can't take. So that was a bit of a swift movement from our opponent. Rook could come here. So if we go here and attack the pawn, just be mindful, if the king moves, we have to move the bishop. Does move, so I'm going to attack the bishop. Still got sights of attacking the pawn here. If the rook comes to defend, the bishop can take the rook. It's all moving swiftly, but I would say this is more of an annoyance game. They've moved the rook out of the way, so we can take. Don't need to lose any tempo over that. Let's take. Again, he's wanting us to develop his knight for him by our bishop taking. So we'll take. So what have we got is the cardinal sin, which is rooks don't have any place in the center of the board, unless of course it's to your benefit. Currently we're attacking their knight, which doesn't have any protection. They're now attacking our rook. We can't take here. Bishop has got a nice site here. So we could just bring the rook back, and if their knight stays there, we then are going to be attacking this pawn twice with the rooks. So the knight has moved and it's protecting this square. So we can move across to go here. Owning the files is crucial. Knight's not coming into the game. Looks like that's going to take too long, doesn't it? Let's go with it anyway. It's getting another piece into the action to try and get a disturbance, to try and get a focal point here. They could just push the pawn down. So they've not pushed that. Let's get the knight in the game. Could look to attack the rook as well. He's making space for his king. It is on a white square, but our bishop is blocked. So he's made the space for the king. Knight can still go and attack his knight or attack the rook. Attacking the pawn, which seems a little bit more stronger. So it's putting a bit of pressure on the pawn that we've been focusing on. Like we said, they can just push down. And do have an X-ray. So we could actually attack the king and get the rook a higher piece. So we'll take the rook. Can slide in here with the support from the nat rook. Anything else? I think we're just going to continue with that. That's a nice position for the bishop. So we probably need to be moving dead quick to get this rook around the back, supporting this rook. Knight's very active, attacking the pawn with a check on the king. Let's hit the knight. It's trapped in there if it does attack the king. So they've moved. So do we now? Yes, with the rook. King's got no spaces, so it's potentially having to move here if it's wanting to save itself. Let's put the check on and that would be a checkmate. Excellent. The answer to chess. Simple direct moves to remove pieces from the board strategically. Basically, stick with what you know and just keep working what you know. Even if it feels like a different position, just keep sticking with the principles that you know and just keep drilling those all the time. So supporting the knight, keeping it nice and simple, straightforward, and we can castle because we don't mind doubling the pawns. I know we said we wanted to stay away from that, but there are occasions where yes, it's advisable to stay away from doubling your pawns. On other occasions, your pieces need to breathe. You know, especially the rooks, they need to breathe. They need space to get out of that blocked in, hemmed in type look. Let's take, and this is how you end up with a minor piece up from the move order. It's kind of overthinking the position, believing that they were losing the bishop, but I think the simple capture of here means I have to work my knight Doesn't mean we've won anything. The knight is in. It's not really doing much damage there, so we could bring the knight here. Queen's attacking the knight. Knight's got enough protection on, so we don't need to lose any sleep over that. And they're looking for, I will say the cheapie, but let's just hit the knight. So they were looking for the queen, getting the checkmate situation here. Knight's got protection with this pawn. Now their knight is being attacked. Support from the pawn, we can take the knight off the board. So their queen doesn't have to move, so they've got time to move the knight out of the way. Bit of hair. And they've not chosen that route, they've chosen this route whereby the king can actually attack, but the bishop is going to attack. So then the bishop's going to probably come here, so they might win the knight. So there's no point pushing the pawn. So in any event, they're still going to win the knight because they will have a check on our king. Yep, let's come here. They look really angry. They look really angry. We're still the minor piece up. Still trying to keep our improving the position of our pieces, but very aggressive attacking style that the opponent's got. And we've still maintained the advantage that the opponent has given us. It was a move order thing, didn't do anything special. So now they're putting checks on the king, we can now start just sliding the king back down again. They are looking to get this pawn here, so we may as well just bring the king here. So very interesting opening. Yeah, they're still going on. Okay, we're looking to try and get the queen traded off the board as best possible. And we can take, the rook can take, and then we can take the rook because we've got the support of our rook. Knight's chomping at the bit to get into here. Maybe here, but the queen is there. Maybe taking the pawn. Maybe attacking the queen. So many options at the minute. So I think this player's got a good understanding of what the pieces can do and very aggressive playing style, but it's the move order. It's the move order of their attacks that is letting them down. If we wanted to drag it out a bit, queen putting a check on or just taking a pawn. Okay, let's get the knight in. Probably did that a bit quick, but I'm attacking a higher piece, so that's why I've done it. Because coming here, attacking a lesser piece, we're not really going to get any play in this area now that the rook is there. So I think that's why I chose to go and just attack the queen. I think they're trying to get the rook here to put more pressure on the pawn. This jumps right into the line of the knight. It's asked for a take back, but playing too quick. And at this point they will probably resign. So interesting game of aggressive attacking player. Just slight errors in the move order, which is okay. You know, the answer to chess process is looking at our game. It's also looking at the opponent's games as well and seeing where we don't want to make those sort of errors in our own games. Nothing's going to ever be perfect, but that's the answer to chess. Okay, last game in the answer to chess series, mini series, and just keeping everything as simple as possible. Let's capture the knight and attack the queen. Let's develop the bishop, ready for castling. supporting the pawn. Let's take the pawn, don't need to complicate anything. Let's put a check on the king. So not trying to be arty. We can be arty when it's required. Smaller piece attacking a higher piece, which is the knight attacking the queen. Greedy munching queen. We like it. Let's bring the queen here, attacking the queen. Something's telling me I don't think they're going to be taking. I think they want to be arty. So this is the thing I'm talking about, where until such time as it's required to be arty, this is changing the mold of our game. We could chase the queen around. Could hit the queen with the rook. Behind the queen is a pawn. Keep it simple. Smaller piece attacking a higher piece. Got to check on the king. Let's attack the queen. They don't look like they want to exchange. They're +1 at the minute. And we can take. The knight's going to be protecting the pawn with the rook. Let's take with the knight. Or none of those. Just bring the bishop here, attacking through to the rook. Or this way. Or the knight just comes here. So there's no big biff there. We're not getting a major score. We'd have to find a way of getting rid of this knight. So we'd have to come here to do this. So give up the knight. So I'm quite enjoying this game. Okay, they've not done that. So I'm going to put a check on the king. It's hiding in the corner. Doesn't want to have the bishop x-raying through to it. It's a bit lucky that this knight is protecting this square, because we've got the bishop here. This pawn doesn't have any protection, so we can take, but are we trapping our rook in there? That's the key thing. We go here, what can actually attack it? There's no minor pieces that can attack it. The white square bishop. Yeah, the minor, yeah, that can. But we can always bring the rook back. Yeah. Let's take. So the bishop attacks and we come back. He's not doing any of that, and he's given us this bit of gold. Take with the check. King moves to the side. Not getting the rook and knight for free. On a white square, the white square bishop can put a check on, but then he takes the rook. So we have to box a little bit clever, I think. I don't want to get too trapped in there. So do we just bring it back, putting a check on, and he dances across? Yeah. I don't see anything different or better. Let's just bring the rook across. Could go for a draw, backwards and forwards. For the last game, I suppose we could do that, because we haven't done too bad. He's attacking our bishop, you see here. And the bishop is protecting the... So I think if we keep that there, he goes here, then we move the bishop out of the way. That gives us time to move the bishop out of the way. And maybe just bring it to here. And he's got this pawn, so maybe we bring it here, protecting this pawn. Yeah, let's do that. So they'll think we're going for the draw, then bring the bishop here, protecting the pawn. And then it's all going to kick off again. Have I moved my king already? I can't remember. Can I get a queenside castle going? So they'll be looking to trade off big style now, or put some sort of pressure on this knight, you know, because they've got the rook already here. Or even just attacking, but they can't attack the rook at the minute, which is a good thing. I'm sure they'll sort something out, give us something quirky to work with. Excellent. Okay, so they're attacking. Oh, we can queenside castle. Excellent. So the king's supporting, but now the rook can come here. Oh, have I just given something up? Put a check on the king. That's what we wanted to do. We really wanted to pin the knight to the situation. Alright, so they've moved dead quick. This bishop doesn't have any protection on. Dark square bishop, the king is on. Bishop could come here, put a check on the king. It's been a bit of a nightmare, isn't it, to the king? King goes... Can't go here. Has to come back again. Yeah. You can't come there. So that's going to be checkmate, isn't it? Oh, it's not checkmate because the bishop can come and protect, but then it's checkmate. Oh, it might not be. Because if the bishop takes, then I'm just blocking. Yeah, so it's going to have to be the rook. It's going to have to be the rook, because if I just take, then he can go here. Or here and hide. And we don't want any hiding business. Does it have to be that rook? This rook? And then we can plump it here. Yep, that makes sense to me. Let's take. Whew. And it's just a take fest now. The rook's coming down, and we are going to see if we can finish them off. Let's take. Rook takes. Drop here, and then that's checkmate. That's the bishop supporting, and they've resigned. Excellent. That's the end of the mini series for the answers to chess for this month, anyway.